Hey there, I'm John Hartness, and I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books. And I'm with you, coming to you today with a timely and, for those of you who are publishers or self-published authors, important update on Amazon's new print royalty policy. I got this email yesterday, and it is really important for anyone who publishes a lot of shorter work, especially if you do a lot of novellas and you release print editions of these. Amazon has been paying what they refer to as a 60% royalty on all print books up until now. They announced yesterday that as of June 10th, 2025, the royalty on print books will be dropping from 60% to 50%. At some point, I will probably make a video discussing the fact that none of this is actually royalties, but this is a distributor's cut. But that notwithstanding, I'm going to use their terminology right now. What they have said is that for all print books priced under $9.99, the royalty drops from 60% to 50%. 10%, not a big deal, right? 100% a big deal. I got notification, and they went through, they created something to go through their database and give you a link to all of your books that will be affected by this. 150 titles, 150 print books that I, as either myself back in the day or as Falstaff Books have published, will now be receiving either a lower royalty percentage or zero royalty percentage as of June 10th. That means that if you're fans of, let's say, Authors and Dragons, the actual play podcast I spent 8 years on, and you liked the Shingles novellas in the individual print that we were selling for $6 on Amazon, we now don't get anything off those unless we raise the price way up. If you love my Quincy Harker Demon Hunter books or my Bubba the Monster Hunter books, and you like to have the individual novellas in print, we now don't get any royalties on those. What it means for us at Falstaff is that the average price for our novellas, a 30,000 to 40,000 word book, which is about 120 to 150 pages, was $6. And pricing it at $6 meant that Amazon paid me about $1.25. And as the publisher, I gave 10% of cover price to the author. So 60 cents went to the author, 60 cents went into the publisher's bank. Obviously, these were not incredibly lucrative, but we did them because then we collected them into bundles of 3 or 4 novellas, and those we priced at a higher price point, had a higher profit margin. Now, each of those are going to be $8 or more, depending on length. This is really going to hurt a lot of people who write short work and try to publish it independently, because a lot of people who are unknowns aren't going to get somebody taking a chance on dropping $8, $9, $10 on a novella. It's really going to hurt a lot of people. Now, I don't know whether this is coming from an increase in cost of paper. They haven't changed their royalty rate since I've been working with Amazon, and that's, I think, 16 years now. But this is a big one. And I don't know if it's got to do with an increase in cost of paper. I don't know if it's got to do with tariffs raising the cost of paper, or if it's just Amazon wanting to put more money in their pockets. My gut says that it's little column A, little column B, a whole lot of column D, all of the frickin' above. So that said, what does this mean for you as a writer? Well, it means that novellas are going to be harder to sell because they're going to cost more to produce, and thus they're going to cost more to the consumer. And if I'm going to ask a consumer to pay $10 for a 30 or 40,000 word novella versus $15 for a 80,000 word novel, my time and energy is probably going to be better spent working on more novels. So that means that writers are going to see markets for these shorter works dry up as more small presses are unable to reasonably afford to produce the books. Now, you're right if you're thinking that that the majority of a small press's money doesn't come from print. You're absolutely correct. It doesn't. Most of a small press's money comes from ebooks, with audiobooks typically the second highest percentage of our gross revenue. But we at Falstaff actually do a lot of print sales, and we do a lot of sales of novellas and short work. And that's going to dry up for writers. Those markets are going to narrow, making it even tougher for writers to get published if they're not working in longer formats or formats that can be ebook first and then print as you get enough novellas to make it worthwhile. So what does this mean going forward? I don't know. I know it means the market's going to get tougher, and we're already in difficult and uncertain economic times. So the market's screwed to start with. People are still reading. So if you're a writer, don't lose hope. Don't get disheartened and think nobody's ever going to read your work, because that's just not true. But it may be harder for you to open up a box of physical books and see your name on the cover. I expect we will see more deals going ebook first. I hate this. I hate it a lot. We've never done this, except when I don't have the full cover wrap. Timing aside, we've never intentionally been a press that says, oh, well, here's the ebook, and if you sell 100 or 200 or 500 copies of the ebook, then we'll do a print edition. Those presses exist. It's a perfectly reasonable publishing model, and as long as you're upfront with everybody, I have no problem with it. But this means that a lot of us are going to be scrambling, and a lot of us in genres that work with shorter word counts are going to have a tough time. And God help a poetry publisher. I guess y'all just aren't printing anything on Amazon anyway ever again, because poetry books, well, one, they already don't make much money, and two, it's practically impossible to make a profit as it is, and this is going to make it even harder. So there are certain genres that are going to be heavily impacted by this. Horror. There's a lot of short work published in horror, and this is going to hurt those publishers and hurt those authors. Now, what can you do? As an author, you can focus your work on longer stuff, on collected editions of your shorter works, and adjust to the market forces. As a reader, you can buy more books, support the independent authors and the independent publishers that are putting out the work that you love. If you want books in print in your hand, you got to be the ones to go out and buy it. And that's just the case all the time anyway. This is a big change, and not a ton is being said about it because people aren't looking past the, holy crap, I've got to go in and change the pricing on 150 titles. It's going to take me weeks. I won't have everything shifted over by the June 10th deadline. And we're almost a month from that. I can already tell you, we're not going to have everything flipped by the time June 10th rolls around. We've got too much to do. We've got too much going on. We're releasing a ton of titles this year. I'm uploading our backlist to our Shopify site in another attempt to break free of Amazon exclusivity so that changes like this don't make such a massive impact on our business. But all of that is slow and all of that takes time. So we won't be ready. So there'll be a period of time where we're selling books and earning nothing. And that sucks, y'all. It's bad. They gave us roughly 30 days to update all our stuff, which if you've got a dozen people working for you, plenty of time. If you've got 10 titles, plenty of time. If you're a very small press that's been established and been around for a long time, that's not enough time. And I think you're going to see a fair number of presses suffer for it. So go support the authors and the presses that you love. Go to their websites, buy direct from them if you can, because that will eliminate the middleman. If we are that press, you can go to our Shopify site. There's a link in the description. And find other ways to support those creators. Because while part of this is or may be predicated on an increase in paper price, the fact of the matter is that Amazon could just raise the price of printing and not affect what they're paying out. They're doing both. They're going to raise the printing cost, and they're giving authors and publishers less money on the back end, because Amazon has now decided that print books should cost no less than $10. This is another arbitrary decision that Amazon has made that will have far-reaching impact on the publishing industry. The reason you see so many self-published and small press ebooks at $2.99 is because Amazon decided that ebooks should cost between $2.99 and $9.99. So if you're a self-published author or a small press working through Amazon's publishing platform, you get a better royalty rate from $2.99 to $9.99. That's another reason we're moving stuff onto our Shopify. So I can sell you a bundle of all the Quincy Harker ebooks for $45, and I get to keep most of that $45. Whereas on Amazon, I would be if I sold a set of ebooks for that price, I'd be giving away 65% of my money. So this is a change on Amazon's behalf, and they're probably going to blame a lot of it on market conditions. But at the end of the day, it's another 10% off every book that they're keeping in their pockets. So you, as readers who want to keep reading and want to keep getting awesome content, need to get out and support the creators you love. Back their Kickstarters. Buy their limited editions direct from them. Support their Patreons. Subscribe to their YouTube channels after you subscribe to this one, and click the bell, ring the bell to get notified, and leave a comment so we know you love us, and it'll joggle the algorithm in our favor. So go out and support the creators that you love, because one of the biggest distributors of, or probably the biggest distributor of books in the world, just took 10% of our income out of our pockets. So that's what's going on in publishing news today, and that's the way it is. And 3 of you are old enough to understand the Walter Cronkite reference, so thank you for being old with me. I'll be back later on with more stuff about more stuff, and I totally just realized that I've had a can of Mountain Dew sitting in the background of this entire video, and I did just set it there before I started. So